All right, so gents, we talked about the Astros early, good, the bad, and the ugly. One of the ugly things that we're going to have to address is been the play at first base. Not necessarily defensively, but offensively. Right now, Jose Abreu has, like we mentioned earlier, he's kind of picked right back up where he left off in the early 2023 season. He looks like he's in early 2023 form in 2024. And in fact, it might be worse. Obviously, it's still early. And obviously, given his performance in the postseason last year, we do have some sort of hope that there is still game left in the tank for Jose, but it's not looking good early. There's not really much hope in getting production out of his backup in John Singleton just because of the career snapshot of what Singleton's been able to do, or more appropriately, not do over the course of his career. He's not really being helped either because there doesn't really. I remember Bill O'Brien used to talk about complementary football. And there's not really been a lot of complementary baseball being played early with this team, whether it's hitting, with runners in scoring position or just clutch hitting in general. The offense just really hasn't found its chemistry, or has really been able to click outside of a couple games in which the offense has exploded. So this is not an indictment on Jose Abreu per se, and it's not an indictment on the production at first base per se, but it is a glaring weakness right now. There's a saying that sometimes the only way out is through. Is that what we're looking at here? Do the Astros just have to push through with who they have? Or are there any moves that they can make that perhaps can be a solution to what's going on at first right now?
Well, nothing jumps out real positively on this. I know there is one alternative we shall get to shortly. Joe Espada's in a challenging spot on this. The first thing that he said since he became Astros manager that I was like, where's that can? Shh, the BS repellent? But what's he supposed to say? Going to the back of his baseball card, Jose Abreu has been a really good hitter for a really long time. Well, for more than a year now, he's been a crappy hitter. One of the worst players in Major League Baseball a year ago. And he's worse than that guy to start the season. As always, we're still in that small sample size phase. But when you take last year into account, one home run the last 55 games of 2022 into account, at bare minimum, this is a player in serious decline. The general notion is until you get 100, 150 plate appearances, that's where you really get a feel for where a guy is within a season. But Abreu is 37 years old, and that he has not had, I don't think, a handful's worth of good swings, much less hits or outcomes. He's late on virtually every fastball, gets himself behind in most counts. It's bad. But John Singleton being on a major league roster, it's approaching insulting to forget our intelligence, which I'm sure many have. If you're on the Astros, you got to be saying, really? John Singleton's batting sixth in our lineup anytime he's in there because, I like the matchup there. You want measles or mumps? That's what you're choosing between Abreu and Singleton at this point. I'll address the minor league potential option. Joey Loperfido got his first run at first base over the weekend at Sugarland. He'd been in outfield before that, but he has a little bit of first base in his background and second base, but we're homing in on first base here. Hey, the 5 home runs already for the Space Cowboys is very impressive, but Loperfido's first 31 at-bats, 14 strikeouts.
Yeah.
John Singleton's thinking, geez, buddy, start making better contact than that. So that Loperfido's on a rocket ship to the major leagues. No, the power is enticing, and if he's considered to play a competent defensive first base, okay. Because, Sunday night, Abreu replaces Singleton for defensive reasons? Hey, either of you guys have any other possibility for first base?
Wink.
Yeah.
Leading question.
Yeah. We're hearing a lot of clamoring for Dubon over there because, hey, at least he's a competent bat, right? From the minor leagues, Charlie went into all that. But I would like to put some perspective on Abreu because it's kind of more than the same. If you look at his OPS from last season, the whole 2023 season of qualified players, he had the 9th worst OPS in all of baseball. And he's your first baseman. Those guys are supposed to be your plus hitters, the power positions. And he's one of the worst hitters in baseball. And then we look at this year, if he had enough at bats to qualify, he would have the worst OPS in baseball. I mean, just wrap your mind around that. It's incredible. And Espada is not playing him every day. He's moved him down behind Chaz and Diaz in the lineup. That didn't take long. On the positive side of things, Altuve is like third or fourth in OPS in all of baseball. Yeah, he's fourth with an 1132. So you have the good and bad. Abreu, pretty much the worst OPS. Altuve, the fourth best. So that's kind of where it lies. But what's really incredible to me with Abreu is we've talked about Alex Bregman's struggles. Mm-hmm. His OPS is twice as high as Abreu's, and he's having a poor season. So that's just how bad it is. And that's why you're hearing these things, because it's the stats and then it's the eye test. Like Charlie pointed out, you watch Abreu, he's behind on everything. He's swinging at pitches in the other batter's box, even in full counts when he could just take a walk. I mean, it's just a hard watch with him. So, and he's already got fans upset from how it went last year and all the Bagwell stuff. So he's in a tough spot, but I don't know if they're going to do anything. We've heard all the clamoring for Dubon, but it's not like he has a lot of experience at first base. His numbers aren't great this year, but he's hardly getting in any at-bats. So I don't think it's that fair to really grade him because he's hardly getting to play. But it's early in the year. I think they're going to keep running Abreu and Singleton out there at least, I don't know, for several more weeks. I just don't think they have any other options that they're willing to consider. And then if you do start platooning Abreu to where he's only playing maybe twice a week or something like that, I mean, what is that going to do? I mean, I know his confidence is already terrible, but I don't know if that's going to make the situation any better. But I do understand Astros fans being like, at least Dubon is not a black hole in your lineup.
Yeah, he does not profile as a worthy major league first baseman. Last year in his breakout season, his OPS was 720, which for first baseman is not good. But when your incumbent is not even 250 and his backup, there's nothing that says he's a worthy major leaguer. So even if it's on a temp basis and you hope Loperfido starts making better contact and can force the issue a little bit, name we mentioned last week or week prior, Brandon Belt's probably out there. Dana Brown, my agent, get my number somewhere. Trade options, probably too early to even explore, a major league caliber first baseman. And then there's what do the Astros have in terms of prospect capital. Some are going to mention Paul Goldschmidt, the Woodlands, then known as Southwest Texas State University. Still a good player, though he slipped last year, but way better than Abreu. Well, the Cardinals are off to a decent start, and they're not going to be out of the race for months, even if they do fall out of contention in the NL Central and the wild card picture. So the Astros at first base look like they're going to be the hamster on the wheel. They're going to keep running, but not be getting anywhere anytime soon.
And again, I don't want to say it's unfair because it is fair because every position is up for examination here. But the offense in general has been challenged to put things together. Jordan's been feast or famine. Alex Bregman, as we have mentioned ad nauseum,
he's been famine.
Yes. Again, a typical slow start. We almost expect this now. You can almost set your watch by Alex Bregman's slow start, but we also know, or at least not know, but we expect him to come out of it and by the end of the year, he'll look like a solid major league player. Maybe not superstar, but solid as far as the numbers go. At times he can play like a superstar, but I guess what I'm trying to get to is, you kind of knew what you had last year in Abreu. You couldn't have expected more this season. You hope for more. You hope that you find some money, but you couldn't really have expected. Is the point of this is if the rest of the roster and the rest of the batters start hitting like we expect them to, can the Astros just afford to fade first base? Is that what they're counting on?
Yeah, well, if we reference it to last year's team, if first base becomes the Maldonado spot and Yainer Diaz gives them way more than they got out of first base last season, that's a net plus if everyone else performs at the level they have or you hope that they do this season, right? Jeremy Pena is off to as encouraging a start as Alex Bregman is a discouraging start. And Brandon, you alluded to Bregman's lousy starts through April the last couple of seasons. What's disappointing more so about this is we heard Bregman in spring training By the way, when he was hitting near 400 and I feel great, I had my normal off season of preparation for the first time in years and I bulked up and I swung weighted bats. I'm feeling stronger and I fully expect to have the best season of my career, which was a pipe dream when he said it. Go look at your numbers for 2019, Alex. You think you're going to put those up? So then after having a big spring training to come out in the games that count and also very few good swings, lazy fly balls to the opposite field, infield pop-ups. But we're still talking the first 10, 11 games of the season. The baseball season as a game, we're in the bottom of the first inning. So there are plenty of ABs and games for things to sort themselves out. But sure, if the Astros are going to have a prolific top-tier offense, the cleanup hitter can't suck. And Alex Bregman so far has sucked. Altuve, great. Yordan, kind of like the postseason in 2022. Not a whole lot of hits, but boy, the ones he's come up with have done major, major damage. Right? Kyle Tucker's really good. Yainer Diaz cooled a little over the weekend. Well, he wasn't going to hit 400. So, if that's a core forward, Bregman's their fifth best offensive player. That should be a really good lineup.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective with the Astros offense, they're 8th in OPS in all of baseball. So they're in the top 10. That's a good offense right there. OPS 743. And we'll look at the sample size and be like, is that enough to really matter? Well, first is the Braves, second is the Rangers, and third is the Dodgers. We all kind of expected them to be in that area as far as offensively, and the Astros are 8th. And that's with what Abreu's doing and Bregman's doing. Now, of course, Altuve's hitting out of his mind, so, he's going to take a little bit of a step back. I don't expect an OPS over 1,100 for Altuve for the whole season. That'd be nice, but I'm not expecting it. So they're right there. And I remember a lot of the season last year, we were tracking this. Astros were kind of middle of the pack, 14th, 15th in OPS. But, that they're in the top 10 right now, it just shows you that this can be a top 5 type offense if you get the Abreu thing fixed, or if he comes out of it, who knows? But they're just in a tough spot because, you mentioned the Maldonado comparison. You weren't paying Maldonado $20 million a year, and he's on the books for another $20 million in 2025. So it's a tricky situation. But if we're looking at positives, hey, top 8 in OPS, Astros are hitting the baseball. The starting pitching has been very, very good. So I think eventually they're going to be okay. I'm seeing some good signs.
Yeah, last year they wound up top 7, maybe it was, in hitting with runners in scoring position. Right? Drive for show, putt for dough. So far, hits in the clutch have been few and far between. It's going to level out. It's not like all their guys are going to fail to hit with runners in scoring position all year. So it's a good lineup. It's a good lineup. The overall results just haven't been good through the first week and a half.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this episode of Stone Cold Stros. If you listen on podcasts and you enjoy the show, please be sure to give us a 5-star rating. Charlie, Josh, and I will catch you on this podcast next week, but you don't have to wait that long to get your Houston sports fix. All you have to do is subscribe to Sports Map Houston and Sports Map Texans on YouTube, and we'll have more content during the week. Until next time, go Stros.